All right. Welcome to the Ill Noise Business Playbook. We are here with Jackie from the Curated Travel Collection. Jackie, how are you doing today?
Hey, Joe, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great. Now, the last time I saw you, and many times I've seen you, we actually are sharing cups of coffee, I guess would be the best way to put it. So, Jackie, what do you see as kind of the benefit of going to those cup of joes? You seem to make almost every single solitary one out there as best you can. So, why do you make it such a priority to do so?
Absolutely. The Cup of Joe is a great event that happens once a month through our Algonquin Chamber. And I just love going because I can connect with other community members, other businesses in the community, meet new people. Just great to kind of get to know each other face to face, right? And kind of really find out what's happening with local businesses in the community too.
Awesome. And yeah, I always enjoy seeing you there.
Well, thank you. Same to
Yes,
you.
you got it. You got it. Now you're all about travel. So if you can tell the audience what inspired you to start doing this for a career, and then, talk to us about your business and what motivated you to get started with what you're doing.
Absolutely. I'm actually celebrating a really special anniversary in my business this year. I am coming up on my 10-year with the company. So super exciting, and never thought I would be here if you would have asked me that, 11 years ago. So I used to be a teacher, worked at Schaumburg School District 54 of teaching and all of that. But after the third child was born, is kind of looking for a career change, something with more flexibility where, I can still be around for the kids. And so, of course, thinking about, well, what can I do? What should I do? What are the skills I have? And I knew I loved traveling, and I knew I had a real knack for planning, being in the teaching industry, right? And so of course, it's one of those things where the more you talk about it, the more it keeps popping up on your Facebook feed, which enticed me even more to start looking into this as a serious, career opportunity. And so through that, I got a chance to reach out to the owner of our company, Amy, who's based in South Carolina. And we just really connected and really hit it off. And so I told my husband, I'm going to just give this a try, see what happens, right? I don't know if anyone's going to book their trips with me, but I know that I'll have fun giving it a try and seeing where this thing goes. And here I sit today, 10 years later, have built a huge business out of travel and helping people do something that they can really get a lot of enjoyment, create memories out of, and just absolutely love it.
Well, and I would highly recommend you, as Neha and I have used you in the past, and it was a wonderful experience. We really appreciate everything you did
Yes,
to make
thanks
that
so much for that, Joe.
trip was wonderful. So, as a small business owner, what sort of obstacles are there out there? Like you say, you started 10 years ago. Let's kind of take a look at how you've been able to grow from where you started to where you're at, and how, as a small business owner, you've been able to kind of deal with some of those obstacles that have come your way.
Well, yeah, so just a little bit about that. I guess my first obstacle was just figuring out how to be a business owner, right? And so I am an independent contractor, and part of this larger agency, but ultimately it's like a small business within a bigger business, right? So just learning kind of the business aspects of what to do and all of that. But being a part of the chamber has really helped me in that, and just learning from other, businesses in the community, what they do, and just being able to, reach out to either them or other travel advisors in the industry and kind of connect that way. And then, of course, big obstacle that everyone always thinks of, rarely talk about nowadays, is the pandemic, right? That was something that came totally out of the blue and just obliviated the travel industry. In fact, I believe the statistic is there, I think 60% of all travel agencies actually had to shut down during that time and, never reopen their doors again, which is very sad. And it was a very scary time for us in the industry who like, this is our career. This is our, our way of life and how we feed our families. There was a lot of uncertainty at that time. We didn't know what was going to happen, but we made it through together. And of course, coming out of something like that always makes you stronger, right? In those situations, it is kind of incredible to think that actually at that time, my business took a big turn for the better after that was kind of starting to settle out. People were coming out of the pandemic. Lots of people wanted to travel because we've had all that pent up, travel bug happening, like getting you out of the house. And also in that time, they really saw the value of a travel advisor helping them plan their vacation. And why did we see that? Because people read the posts about how they booked through, one of the online portals or something like that, or maybe a discount agency of some sorts, a wholesaler. And then when they had to cancel plans and change plans and had new requirements to do with as far as travel goes, they were kind of lost. They didn't have somebody to reach out to. They didn't have a dedicated person to assist them through those times. And your vacation's a big investment, so you really want to make sure you have an expert, somebody who's keeping up with all of those things and there to help when things go wrong too. So it really did propel my business to the next level, ultimately. And we made a lot of changes during that time too. So, live and learn. We changed the way we did business, and it's better than it ever has been.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You know, obviously, any type of business you're running, it's all about securing your customer base. It's all about keeping your customers, and then it's all about growing your customers. So, what sort of strategies have you put in place to kind of grow that customer base?
Yeah, so I kind of thought about that question a little bit, and of course I've tried it all, just like everyone else. You try putting ads out there or marketing on social media, all those things. But the best way and the number one way my business has grown is through word of mouth, because nothing's better than helping someone with their trip, and then they tell their friend or their family member because you provided that excellent level of customer service. And if they really enjoyed their experience, they're going to spread the word. And having a referral like that where you can really trust that your experience is going to be good goes a long way. It goes much further than a paid ad will ever go.
There you go. Absolutely. Let me pivot here for a second as well. Throwing you another curveball, Jackie, but you're going to out the park. I know. Yeah. How has AI affected the travel industry? How have you been able to use that to your benefit?
Yes, actually, I was going to talk about that. I had that in my notes here to talk about when you mentioned keeping up with trends, right? So this is a huge trend. I guess it could be good or bad, but I always try to, take the positive out of things. And in the travel industry, there's actually a lot of benefits to using AI. For example, there is no way we could travel to every destination as much as we might want to. We don't know every excursion or every experience somebody could have. So we can use AI as a great learning tool to help us make some choices for clients, right? So if there's a destination I don't know about, I can help kind of learn, and it could teach me about that destination, about some of the best things to do there. And actually, I use a special AI that's just for travel advisors. So it's even more tailored to our needs and our client needs as well.
Sure. And let's kind of then with those trends, you referenced right off the bat how much COVID played a place in you and sort of altering your business. So, um, listen, we're never going to sit around here and go, hey, listen, we can anticipate something like that happening again. And I know we don't want that to happen, Jackie. What sort of strategies do you have in place to just deal with anything like that occurring again? In other words, what's the best takeaways that you sort of learned from that whole experience?
Well, one thing that we learned just as a business model is, before the pandemic, a couple of things I'll talk about, but one thing is our planning services, right? So before the pandemic, we were like many other travel agencies saying things like, all of our services are free to the client, which sounds great.
Right.
But in reality, we don't get paid until clients travel. So there is a commission that comes from suppliers when we're planning people's vacations. And that commission from the supplier, that is the supplier paying us for marketing their product, basically. But for the services that we're providing, things like arranging client transportation, maybe booking flights, maybe making dining recommendations, making reservations for people's excursion experiences, all those little details that go, happen before the client even travels. Those are the things that now we've kind of put into a planning package. And so we're getting paid. It's, every travel advisor can work their business a different way, which I really appreciate. And so there is a small fee to the client now to have some of those extra services, and we give options to the client. So that was one big change that we made. Certain services are covered complimentary. And then if clients want that next level of service that involves more of our time and research and that type of thing, we have those planning package options that they can pay for. So business model wise, huge change, but really helped us, because if a client never ends up traveling and you've already spent hours and hours and hours of time working on their trip, now we can sustain ourselves still, right, with some form of compensation. So that's one thing. And actually, it's a huge trend across the industry. Many travel advisors are using some form of this type of model. And then the other thing that we learned was, when I originally started this business, we were actually years of experience and with the same company, but we have totally rebranded into the Curated Travel Collection. Years of experience was just focused on theme park travel, which I do love theme park travel, right? And a lot of people know me as the Disney lady.
That's right.
But we kind of learned at that time, the theme park industry can be volatile, right? There's totally shut down theme parks means we don't have clients if we're only focused on that. So we took the time during the pandemic to learn about different destinations, do tons of training, which is always ongoing, and evolve the business, rebrand into the Curated Travel Collection. And now I'm planning for destinations all around the world. So lots of growth there. Yes.
It's a great pivot. Tell us a fun story. Tell us something that sticks with you. Somebody that you've helped, somebody that you put a big smile on. I know there's probably many, Jackie, but what's one of your clients that kind of stand out?
There are really so many stories, but I really just love when a client calls me and they kind of tell me things personal about their life. And they say to me, talking about my vacation really takes my mind off whatever problem might be having in their, they might be having in their life, or when they just let me know that this was the best part of their day. That just makes me feel really happy. And of course, I've had many really special celebration trips that I've sent people on to help them celebrate everything from birthdays to anniversaries. And I love that. I love first time vacations for families, and then seeing those kids grow, because now I've been doing this for 10 years. So maybe I helped them with the trip when their kids were just toddlers and it was their first time ever. And now I'm helping them plan vacations to Europe instead of vacations to Disney. So that's really cool. And the kids know me too. They're like, that's Miss Jackie.
Love it. I love it. I love it. Jackie, thank you so much for spending some time with us. Thanks for
Yes.
spreading so much cheer. Thanks for being so passionate about what you're doing. Really appreciate you and everything that you do.
Yes, thank you as well. We really appreciate you, and thank you for all you're doing in the community.
You got it.